Oh shit! I have to do the whole video again. I'm gonna do the whole video again. Thank you for the no voice thing. Here we go. Check. Here we go. This is just a quick video about how to synchronize your panes so that you can have the same thing happen in the same directory. I mean, in all three different panes with Tmux. A lot of people already know this, so this is so to do it, you need to do set sync tab on, and then I'll synchronize your panes. And then when you want to actually do something individually to each one, you can do set synchronization off. So you just need to make a specific change to this one, and then you can go back to it pretty easily. You can, of course, map that to something. I don't, because I don't use this enough to do that. But if you did, you could make it into a quick key if you want to. If you have suggestions about what your favorite key is for synchronized panes, and you've actually bound that to a hotkey, please let me know. Maybe I'll use your idea. All right, so go ahead and use that and upload that video. I have to share these videos. So I have to make this video. Somebody, I'm doing containerd commands and like, what's CTR? And this LVG answered the. If I don't share them, they don't get. What's the difference between containerd and Docker? And I love this answer. I just have to. How do you use Tmux? LVG DN says, to put it short, Docker is containerd plus other stuff on top of it that's useless for Kubernetes. Post. And that's kind of my take on it. LinkedIn. This is a very short video. So of the container engines that exist, and maybe I'll go to make a point mode. Here we go. This is make a point mode. All right, let's go ahead and behold. Do this. Go back to channel content. Go ahead and add some things. God, we already got views on that. Create, upload video. Hey Cruz, what's up? Thank you for the follow.
Cruz 2 op is now following.
Tmux, Linux, pro tips. Did I spell that right? Next. Slowly but surely adding things for beginner boost. Wait, is it already up? Damn, that was fast. That was fast, right? Did it actually post it? I don't know if it posted it or not. I don't know, we'll see. Yeah, I guess it did. I guess it did. Docs. These are little videos we have to make related to other things. So, Boost, Linux. Where's Tmux? We need to put it all here. Boop, 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 doo, doo. All right, so that's been captured, and we're back to what we were doing before. Not nearly as many people made it back, but that's okay. We're going to go for it. So this is actually the part that's kind of the most worrisome. And I feel like we should put it in a script, to tell you the truth. And why, right? Because I'm going to continue with this thing of mine of putting it into the install script. And I don't know if this goes in kubeadm or not. I'm guessing not. I'm going to put this stuff here. I don't know what we're going to call this. We're going to figure this out. All right, so let's go back to the instructions. If you want to have high availability, make sure you have this in your line. If you have plans to upgrade a single control plane kubeadm cluster to high availability, you should use -- control plane endpoint. She said the shared endpoint for all controller plane nodes. Okay, so this is where I ended last time. And we have a tough decision to make. We need to decide if we're going to put a load balancer in here or how we're going to do this, right? And by load balancer is a confusing term in Kubernetes because there are lots of load balancers. There's the one inside Kubernetes. There's a load balancer external to the cluster, which keeps the entry point, centralized. And that's what we need for high availability. It says here you should specify the control plane endpoint to set the shared endpoint for all control planes. I think the question I have is, can I have multiple values for the control plane endpoint? If I remember correctly, you can actually specify multiple control plane endpoints to this argument command, and then Qubit will automatically round robin or pick a random one, and you don't have to use any kind of load balancing distribution or DNS round robin. That I don't know if that's true. If you know if that's true, please let me know. But we're going to go ahead and go to, we've already got this on, specify the increase socket. Can timer if there is more than one. We don't have a increase socket argument. We don't need to do that. There's only one. kubeadm init. To initialize the control plane and run no kubeadm init with the argument. So we have to decide what arguments to use with this. It says here considerations about API advertised address and endpoints. While API advertise can be used to set the advertised address for the particular control plane nodes, API server control plane endpoint can be used to set the shared endpoint for all control plane nodes. Control plane endpoint allows both IP address and DNS names that can map to IP addresses. Please contact your network administrator to evaluate possible solutions to expect such mapping. So this control plane endpoint is probably the single IP that we want to have, and that would be, I'm guessing, a DNS name that has round robin or a load balancer. Sorry, I don't have a load balancer, so this is one of those cases where we might be able to use kubebip for this. Here's an example of a mapping cluster endpoint where .0.102 is the IP address of the node, and cluster endpoint is a DNS name that maps to this IP. This will allow you to pass control plane endpoint, cluster endpoint to kubeadm init. To kubeadm and pass the same DNS name to kubeadm join. I remember hitting this part last time and wondering if kubevip was the way to go. Later, you can modify cluster endpoint to point to the address of your local load balancer. I remember reading this exact thing when I was getting ready to certify. I never did some time ago, and I had the same questions. Later, you can modify cluster endpoint to make it to the address of your load balancer in a high availability scenario. Later, you can modify cluster endpoint to point to the address of your load balancer or in a high availability scenario. So yeah, turning a single control plane cluster created without control plane endpoint into high availability clusters is not supported by kubeadm. Turning a single control plane cluster created without control plane endpoint. So the moral of the story is thou shalt make sure you have control plane endpoint so you can actually later turn it into an HA. For more information about kubeadm init, to customize control plane components including IPv6, recommend a customer. So do you want kubeadm init again? US first on the cluster. Okay, so we're going to come back to this. This is where the magic really happens. This kubeadm command, again, we can either do a kubeadm config or we can do a kubeadm command. I'm going to stick with the bash command option for this. I'm probably going to put that in my install, and I'm going to call it something. And I don't know what I'm going to do there. I'll probably be install -kate's control plane. That'll probably be it. Consideration about API advertiser. It sounds to me like API advertised address is like not something you should use for this particular control plane. Node's API server control plane endpoint can be used to set share endpoint. They're trying to say use control plane endpoint. It's better, and take the time to set up something like this. Now, what are my options? I don't have a load balancer. I could set a DNS entry in. I don't know if it would be the host files or in my primary DNS server. I could add, what I don't know is if my DNS server, which comes to my router, is able to do DNS round robin. If it's not, I might have to bring up a load balancer. There is the possibility using kubevip that I can do that instead. And I know kubevip is a thing. So let me see. Can I use kubevip to provide HA for control plane endpoint? I don't know. We're going to see. So Kubernetes control plane endpoint. kubevip is a lightweight virtual manager, a load balancer designed specifically to provide HA for Kubernetes control plane nodes by offering a virtual IP that automatically fails over between nodes in a cluster. This is exactly what we want. How kubevip works for HA control plane when setting up. I just happen to know. I'm glad it's not mentioned anywhere. I wish they would. When setting up an HA control plane in Kubernetes, the control plane endpoint flag defines the external load balancer address to which the Kubernetes API server is accessed. This endpoint must be highly available and a point to which the control plane nodes to be virtual that is managed by kubevip. Steps to use kubevip for HA control plane endpoint. Install kubevip. Kubevip can be run as a Kubernetes pod or as a static pod on the control plane node. A static pod is a pod. It's a Kubernetes pod, which is a Kubernetes thing wrapped around a container that is only running on that computer, and it's not even technically in Kubernetes. It's not managed by the control plane at all, even though it reports to Kubernetes. Static pods are one of the most weird things when you're first starting out to understand. A static pod is another name for a container that runs on one specific endpoint node one specific piece of machinery, a machine, and is outside the scope of the Kubernetes cluster. When I first time I heard this, I was like, you can't have a pod until you have Kubernetes. So how are you going to set up kubevip to set up Kubernetes if you don't have Kubernetes yet? If you're going to have a pod, the answer is static pods. Static pods can be set up without any notion of Kubernetes at all. So that is what you do here. It manages a virtual IP address that will always point to one of the active control plane nodes, ensuring high availability. Example of installing kubevip as a daemon set. A daemon set is a specific service that runs on a specific node, a specific piece of machine. It doesn't move around. Running VIP as a daemon set. This is kind of interesting because I mean it's the chicken and the egg situation, right? Because you can't install a daemon set because you don't. I mean, you probably can actually. Let me try this. I think you can actually do this on the endpoints, and you can use kubectl on the endpoints. This is another justification for using kubectl on an endpoint, even though you don't think you need to. This is a good idea. Okay, this is fantastic. I am so happy that we are encountering this right now. That is not what I want. I want this. Okay, so this will go out and get the cube thing, and it'll set up. And so this would actually run a static pod. And error, unable to read URL. So reported 404 not found. That's not good. That URL is a 404. You're right. Your URL provided is bad. You suck. Install kubevip. Download kubevip manifests to kubevip YAML, or visit official GitHub repo. Modify the manifest. Modify the kubevip manifest, creates a new configuration. I don't know what we need in here. This is just telling you what interface we want. We don't need any of that. We don't. We don't need that. Apply the manifest. And this lets Kubernetes cluster with control plane endpoint. Yep. Control plane endpoint equals. Okay. There, we just give it the IP. Yep. Upload certs. Verify the failover. Okay, so it's good. Hey, thank you for that, Paul. We're gonna go ahead
Musselman
and
development is now following.
I still think we can get. I think we can get away with using the curl on this. To tell you the truth, I think we can. I think this actually exists as a thing. So we're gonna try it again. I think we can do. Wait, what's going on? Oh, here we go. I think we just need to change this, actually. And it just needs to be https cube vip.io manifest slash qvip.io. This is DS. I don't know what that's about. Cube vip.io. Not found. Yeah, I don't know what to say here. ChatGPT is full of shit. Does not exist. So we'll see. It's no longer available. Instead, you can use the following steps. Download the kubevip daemon set manifest. Oh, now we're downloading it from GitHub directly. kubevip main docs manifest kubevip DNS. And you can browse and manually download. All right, let's do that. Yeah. All right, so here it is. 404 not found. That's not found either. You're full of shit, ChatGPT. It's your fourth try. It's going great. I know. It's going to be even worse. I mean, I like that it's an idea, but it's like it can't find it. Yeah. Yeah, once again, generative AI is full of shit. Page not found. There's no such thing. Why is it putting it under docs? It's probably not under docs at all. It's probably, I'm guessing they put it under docs on accident. I bet you it's under, nope, there isn't anything here. I don't know what the hell this is talking about. Command demo example, PKG testing. There's nothing here, man. It's because they went to a makefile. It's so shitty. Yeah. Yeah, that URL doesn't exist either. This is the 5th time. Download the Kubernetes YAML manifest. Great idea, except for this link is wrong again. QBIP main documents manifest. That does not exist. QBIP cloud provider blob. You found it, Jellers. Yeah. You found the link. See, you're better than ChatGPT. That's why everybody should stream. They don't have to use ChatGPT. Updated version for whatever. Cloud controller. Are you sure this is a daemon set? This is a controller, huh? This is totally different. Why do they have a controller now? It sounds like they've changed how it works. It's not a static. It's not a static pod. This is a cluster role binding deployment. Yeah, that's probably the right place to go. Let's go there. Fuck ChatGPT. How you doing? Bare metal on-prem, etc. Type load balancer for Kubernetes service types load balancer. You're on your own FPPS environment. Yeah. QBIP addresses both of these things. Yeah, it's definitely the right thing. This is the right place to be. So bare metal on-prem, that's what we're doing. We're doing on-prem. Linux QBIP cloud provider. Yeah, I mean, I don't have the money to buy, a hardware load balancer, and round robin DNS is not adequate. Because when you take one down, it still routes to that thing, and you don't want that. You want something that BIP provides. So this is the only option for people doing vanilla. And it wasn't mentioned at all in the official Kubernetes docs, which is really sad, actually. QBIT repository, cloud provider repository, RBAC manifest for the daemon set. I don't understand why it has an RBAC for the daemon set. You don't need that, unless you're running static. See, this is like one of the chicken and the egg things. I don't know. Can you have RBACs for static pods? I don't know. Well, we're going to find out. Kubernetes load balancer services on-prem. This is what we want. On-prem QBIP cloud controller. This is totally new architecture. This is not something that I would normally do. Kubernetes load balancer. When services are enabled for QBIPO, watchers enable on all services a master type load balancer. Advertise Kubernetes once meta annotations are done. Give here to ignore a service. We're not going to do that. Kubernetes load balancer class. Don't favor load balancer class. It seems like it's evolved a little bit since the last time I heard about it. Hey, thank you for that follow, Caesar. So load balancer class can be handled by load balancer class legacy.
_sezu_valvera is now following.
As you can see, all of this stuff is added after you have a cluster already, but we don't want that. Right, we want to pass this IP that's generated from the QBIP to the control plane arguments when we do kubeadm init. So we need to set up the static pod up front, and I don't know that can be done based on these instructions. These instructions are all based on there's a cluster already, and then you put QBIP in it. And maybe I'm missing something. Maybe these are all things that can be installed on the standalone kubelet as a static pod, but none of these so far are static pods. So maybe something has changed. Using DHCP for load balancers, we're not going to do that. External traffic policy, QBIP5. Exposing servers to DPP, no. Multiple services on the same IP, that's what I want. Multiple servers on the same IP is entirely possible. Multiple servers share the same IP as long as the exposed port is unique. The example will create 2 load balance services that list on the same port. QCL exposed deployment, test deployment, load balancer, blah, 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 service, HTTP exposed. Deployment test deploy, that's fine. This is not what I wanted, though. This is not what I wanted QBIP for. I'm kind of confused. It seems almost like they've moved away from static pods. Yes, we want static pods. Static pods are Kubernetes pods that are run by the kubelet on a single node that are not managed by Kubernetes cluster. This means that whilst a pod, this is the original way of doing it. This means that while the pod may can appear with Kubernetes, it can't make use of a variety of Kubernetes functionality such as Kubernetes token, config map. Static pod approach is primarily required for kubeadm, and it is due to the sequence of actions performed by kubeadm. This is exactly what I just said. So I'm super glad we found this. This is exactly what we want. The static pod approach is primarily required for kubeadm as it is due to the sequence of actions performed by kubeadm. So we need we need the IP that kubeip provides before we use kubeadm. All the other options are assuming you want to do stuff with it, the things that you might use it for after the fact. None of that I need. So we're going to do this. We want kubeadm to be a part of the Kubernetes cluster, but for various bits of functionality, we also need kubeip to provide a HA virtual IP as a part of the installation. The sequence of events for building a high-availability Kubernetes cluster with kubeadm and kubeip are as follows. Oh, this is gold. This is gold. I'm like bookmarking the crap out of that. Yeah, that definitely needs to be bookmarked. So where's my thing here? So there's SoCat. We actually should have installed the kubeip daemon set on the individual Kubernetes nodes before I cloned them, and then it would have been there already. That's one of those things that we could have done ahead of time. So yeah. So install kubeip. I'm gonna put a link there. That could have been done before we cloned our VM. So. Or it could be done it could be done as either as an Ansible playbook after a Cloud Init setup or possibly part of the Cloud Init setup. So this is the thing. And this is, by the way, this is only relevant to your control planes. You don't want to do this to, which actually, I need to put this down here for control planes. SoCat needs to be run on anything with kubeadm, but this is only for control planes. Because say control planes, one thing, yeah, install kubeadm, VIP, and that's there. Okay, so yeah, put that there. I don't want to lose those notes. All right, so let's go back to the instructions. Generate a kubeip manifest. I'm so happy we found this. A static mod manifest directory, generating a manifest. Not hard. kubeadm, run kubeadm with control input and input. That's what we're going to do. And as you remember from the Kubernetes documentation, it says here, you should not use advertised API server. It doesn't correctly say that. It's directly say that, but it's really kind of implying it. It's like, if you don't do it this way, you can't do HA later. And why would you not? Right? So control plane endpoint. Well, it says you have to give the IP of high availability, a single IP. And I was like, for a second, I was thinking I could use multiple IPs here, and you cannot. You cannot. You have to be one IP. That means it's either got to be round robin DNS, which it proceeds to talk to you about, like, here's a way you could do it using a single IP address. You can change it to BHA later because we're tied to the single DNS name. Now, ironically, kubeip doesn't let us do that unless we assign. In our DNS server, we were to assign a DNS name in the VIP to the IP address. But I got to tell you something. I don't think it's a good idea because I don't think DNS resolution in kubeip is a good idea. I don't know the internals of kubeip, but I mean, at a minimum, it's not going to cache the IP that goes with that DNS entry. In fact, for kubeip to work, it would have to resolve the DNS name every time because it could potentially change at any time. In other words, if you're going to use kubevip, don't use the domain name idea. Use a specific IP, which is super interesting because I made a bunch of other architectural decisions for my home lab based on I want to be able to move my IPs around, and I used Avahi for that so I could resolve them to different names and stuff. And I'm now starting to think that it might have been a misguided decision and we should just lock down specific IPs. In any enterprise scenario, that's what you would have. You would have an IP that would be locked down, and you'd pull those IPs in and out, and you would be doing everything by IP. You wouldn't be doing it by domain name because you wouldn't want to have the extra piece of domain name architecture. So I went with the Avahi daemon, and I've started to do things, but now I'm like reversing my decision on that. I think it is nice to have Avahi, but it's actually more important the IP not change in your environment. That's actually super important. Another reason for that is that everything can be configured used per IP. I mean, the downside of that, of course, is that all of your components would have to be changed to use different IPs, and if you were to change that, right? So this thing about what I don't. Okay, let's not give up on the IP on the DNS name. Let's actually read about static pod kubevips and see if it can be set to use an API a domain name. I doubt it though. I seriously doubt it. And using the output from kubevip init as HA load balancer or both, the functionality of kubevip depends on the flags used to create the static pod manifest by passing control plane with instruct kubevip to provide advertise the virtual IP used to control the plane. By passing in services as well, kubevip will provide load balancing for Kubernetes service resources created inside the cluster. With both enabled kubevip will manage a virtual IP address that is passed through its configuration for a highly available Kubernetes cluster. It will also watch services of type load balancer, and once their service metadata annotation load balancer IPs or spec load balancer IP is updated, typically by a cloud controller, including optionally the one provided by prem scenarios, it will advertise this address using BGP ARP in this example. It's awesome. That is so awesome. That is so cool. That is so stinking cool. I just don't have words for that. Okay, so why is that good? Because that answers the problem I just had. Because this would allow us to bring other nodes online using kubevip. I don't think we would ever put workers in there, though. By pressing on services, we tell kubevip to provide load balancing for kubeadm services resources created inside the cluster. By doing that, that actually bypasses the need to Istio completely. That's insane. That's insane. Oh my God, that is so freaking cool. That is, I'm like, my mind is totally blown away by that. That actually addresses one of the biggest problems with Kubernetes, and that is, how do you get to shit inside of it? I have to stop. Thank you for the follow. I have to think about this for a second, because
is now following.
That's seriously. So those annotations are updated when you install that other thing, the cloud controller. If you install a kubeip cloud controller, which is something separate from static pods, so this is a case where you're using kubeip for two different things. You would have static pods running to do the high availability routing and get a single virtual IP, which you need. You need that if you don't have a load balancer, a proper load balancer, hardware or something. You absolutely have to have that. DNS, round robin DNS is not sufficient for Kubernetes, because, as I said, if you take down a system, the IP is still there. Half of your requests will fail because it won't be there. So it doesn't work. You need an actual load balancer. So you either have to buy the hardware for it, or use kubeip. So kubeip fixes that by running static pods that do the election, and they send out the ARP thing, and they tell you, okay, basically what it is kubeip answers. kubeip is intelligent enough to answer a query on the network saying, hey, who's got an ARP query saying, hey, who's got this IP and the virtual IP, and then kubeip will speak up and say, oh, so-and-so's got it. Oh, now so-and-so's got it. Oh, now so-and-so's got it. And kubeip is smart enough to do the behind the scenes things to make sure to tell you whether that thing is down or not. And so you never ever have any downtime when you're taking a control plane down. So if you want to add an extra control plane, just add an extra control plane and put kubeip over there, and it'll be added to the election of where it goes, and everything will get distributed properly. That's what kubeip primarily does. That's the reason in a kubeadm scenario. But what I've just read about is another completely independent function of kubeip that's been built into the tool called cloud configuration, which will actually use kubeip. It'll leverage all the kubeip architecture and low-level networking stuff to expose any load balancer services. And so the service is how you poke holes in your cluster so that people from applications from the outside world can come in on the API and actually talk. And that has to come in through a load balancer. And normally you would install Istio or something like that, and then you would have a single API point of access, and that's where everybody would come in to go do that. But in this case, you don't even need Istio, because you could put a service on there, and any service that has a load balancer would automatically become an exposed service to the outside world. So then it's just a matter of mapping that IP address, and it sounds like the cloud controller could, in addition to that, it can actually let you map specific services to multiple internal load balance. I mean, a load balancer is already designed to be the entry point into multiple pods and everything. It already does round robining and all that stuff. It's already an internal sort of gateway to these multiple things. There's like multiple ideas of load balancing and like redirection and all that stuff. And the reason that has to exist, because that covers the single biggest reason Kubernetes exists, is the ability to scale up and down pods as necessary. Which was, everybody tried to do that in the 90s, and in the 2000s fell on their face because it's so hard to scale applications up and down. That's why Kubernetes is still a thing. Nomad does it a little bit, but not nearly as good as Kubernetes, even though Kubernetes is super highly complicated. So, but that scaling up and down means that, like, say you have 5 pods that are all doing a particular thing, then there's like a single load balancer which answers for the service, and then the service inside the cluster divvies up the communications to all the different pods in a nice, happy way. So you still have to deal with like writing to a centralized database and all that same problems, unless you duplicate your database, and all those same problems still exist. But the load balancer on top of a service is the way you expose it. I can actually show you the hardware load balancer, and that's what exposes an IP number to the outside network that can then be accessed directly to do things, and then that can be associated with the DNS or something like that. And the thing I don't know about here is that with a really overblown, bloated tool like Istio from Google, it also provides something called virtual services, and virtual services are named services. These are, so you can actually provide a high level API, a single point of presence that points to, in this case, your Kube API, main entry point. And then what that does is it allows you to add a virtual service, and then any it's basically the first part of the URL after the main URL, and that's like kind of Apache Virtual Services. It kind of that distributes it, so you can have multiple entry points that are all top level slash whatever slash harbor slash whatever, and then those things will get distributed. I mean, those things will make it to the right internal IPs, and usually that's a load balancer. So Istio serves as the gateway for all of your stuff, and that's what allows you to translate an actual web address, a URL with an actual name into the stuff on the internal side, and it takes care of all the finding of the load balancer. The exposing of a service either through a node port or a load balancer to the outside world as an IP address is another way to do that. The only difference is that how are you going to resolve what the IP is? You still have to have a DNS entry externally that points to that IP address, and it is possible that kubevip does that. It is possible that there's some way for it to resolve some sort of DNS name in the way that Istio does, which I'm very curious to know, because this was not a thing when I was evaluating this 2 years ago. kubevip came into its own because of the whole load balancer for on-prem that we're using it for as a static pod. That's the main reason it was used. But this other stuff is very, very interesting. So it says it also watches services of type load balancer, and once their metadata annotation is set, is typically by a cloud controller, the provider provided by kubeadm on-prem scenarios, it will advertise this address using ARP. So, an example, I don't know if that's associated with the domain name, though. I don't think it gets us past the ultimate need to get to a specific service by name. All that does is provide a consistent IP address. That's all it does. This will lock down an IP address in a specific range, and it gets you a solid IP address that will always be available. And so here we use environment to predefine the values of the inputs to kubevip. Set the VIP address to one that you want to be consistent. This is the address that you would configure in your external DNS, in my case, my home router, and you want to make sure that IP never, ever, ever, ever changes, because that's the entry point into your entire cluster. Set the interface name to the name of the interface control plane. You have to do this because it's going to do ARP stuff at the interface level. Why? I guess this has to be done for each kubevip entry. I get the latest version of kubevip released by kubevip GitHub API. Of course, use of JQ. I do this all the time. It says .0 name. That's no. This is not the right way to do this. Do not do that. Not only does name not right, it's now tag underscore name because they changed it. But you could just do latest to get the release number and then grab the right one by doing that. This is actually grabbing the first one, which is also the latest, but you can just do it with an initial query. I see what they're trying to do there, though. They're saying whatever the top release. The top release is not necessarily the latest. Sometimes the top release is like a beta or something. That is wrong. This is like dead wrong. Find the desired release tag. Export the version, keyboard version. If you do latest, I have installer code that does this already. Actually, I can tell I'm going to have to write an install kubevip script right now. Creating the manifest with the input value set. Now we can pull and run the kubevip image, supplying it desired flags and values. Once the static pod manifested. So, again, this is only control planes. Once the static pod manifest is generated for your desired method, ARPVGP. If you know what, the thing that secondary purpose to use the whole load balancer service mapping, that whole thing. I think that requires kubevip to be installed on the worker nodes as well. When the primary need, the static IP, the virtual IP, the virtual IP, installed on the control planes is an only control plane sort of thing. So the question is, do I have to install kubevip to use those other things on all the nodes or not? And I don't think you do. Why is that relevant? Because in my install steps, I would be putting that in before I made the Kate's node virtual machine and then turn that into a template. Then I can spawn off 8 or 9 or 10 virtual machines and then decide, which ones are control planes and, elect those, put more stuff on there. So they're control planes and the rest of them are workers. I don't know whether, I think the kubevip installation steps up to this point are, plane only, control plane only. And it could be that I need to install it on everything if I want to get that other stuff. It's not going to hurt to install it on everything. Definitely not. So kubeip control container image pull. Look at, they're using containerd. Remember I told you I made a video saying containerd is the most popular? There you go. kubeip assumes you're using containerd. Alias kubeip containerd image pull JCR kubeip version. Run remove net BIOS. This is, I remember this. The way that they do the installation. Oh, they do have a Docker one. Okay. So depending on the container runtime, use one of these, creating a manifest. You can use this thing to make yourself a manifest on a static pod, and then you can actually run that. With the inputs and alias commands, we can run the kubeip container to generate the static pod, a static pod manifest. So you have to have a container image registry, container engine installed, so you can put the container in there, and then you can run that thing to install the kubeip. So you got to make sure these things happen in order, otherwise they won't. You're dead. As such, it's assumed to run on the first control plane node. Yes. This configuration will create a manifest that starts kubeip providing a control plane VIP and Kubernetes service management using the leader election method of ARP. We talked about that. When you need about ARP networking in general, if you don't know what ARP packets are, I can't help you. You got to look that up. When this instance is elected as a leader, it will bind the VIP to the specific specified interface. When the instance is elected as a leader, it will bind the VIP to the specified interfaces. The same behavior for services of type load balancer. Interesting. No, when running these commands onto the control plane, sudo access may be required for recreation of etc Kubernetes manifest directory. Yeah. So etc kubeip manifest. Okay, so this is you installing it on the main system, on the primary node, and then getting your first one. And then after that, you're probably going to be copying the manifest over to everything else. An example, ARP manifest, VIP interface, CIDR, 32, namespace, GCR, kubeip image. You might have to change this image to be your own local if you're air-gapped. And it's binding localhost because it's fine to be on localhost. Host name's Kubernetes. I don't know about that. BGP is an ARP thing. All nodes in the BGP configuration will advertise virtual IP addresses. We bind the address to LO localhost. We don't have multiple addresses on the same one. BGP uses EBNF. I'm pretty sure. We can specify all the peers in the comma separated list. BGP. I guess we could use either BGP or ARP, but I don't know who. BGP is more modern. Probably want to use BGP. And then how to do it as a daemon set. I don't think you can do it as a daemon set unless you do it from Kubernetes. A daemon set can't be static. Some Kubernetes can bring up a Kubernetes cluster without depending on pre-existing VIP, but they have configured to support one. A prime example, this would be K3S, which can be configured to start and also sign certs and allow incoming of traffic without it. Okay, so that is not us. That is not kubeadm. So we don't want that. We're going to go back. This is what we want. All right. So, I still need to decide, you know what? I don't need kubeip for anything more than the virtual IP. That's the only thing I need it for. So let's go ahead and do that. So generate a kubeip manifest, static pod manifest, generating a manifest below. All right. So I don't know if we're going to do this on one. Generate kubeip manifest in the static pod manifest directory. Okay, so we need to generate the Kubernetes directory. And let's go ahead and do that right now. Creating the manifest, etc Kubernetes manifests. I don't think we have that yet. etc Kubernetes. Oh, we do. Okay. All right, so there's nothing in there. Good times. Container runtimes. So this is where we're going to write it. Oh my God, it's loud. By default, etc Kubernetes manifests. Okay, so in order to create an easiest experience consuming various functionality of kubeip, we can use kubeip container itself to generate our static pods. We do this by running kubeip image as a container and passing it the various flags when we want it to run. That's what a pod is. A pod is a container running on an endpoint. that knows about Kubernetes but doesn't check in with Kubernetes. We use environment variables for predefined values as inputs. Set the VIP. This is interesting. I don't know. I'm starting to regret the fact that I'm using 192. I should probably have used a. When I set up my other home lab before, I ran it on a different subnet. I used the class B. There's actually a couple class Bs that you can use that are really great for home labs. They have lots and lots of endpoint availability. And I only have 255 right now in my home lab, which honestly, if I ever have more than that many devices on my home network, that would be a bad thing. But still, I don't like it, even though that's what my home lab defaults to. You can't use any 10 dots because they conflict with internal cluster stuff. You don't want to use 192. I think it's 168 or 3. There's some that conflict with. There's stuff. Yeah, but if you set up, you have to set up your entire subnet to do that. And I did that. I mean, you guys have seen my Excalibur, probably my Excalibur. This is my old stuff. Some of you might want to actually take the time to set this up, so I'm going to go ahead and show you. This is my old architecture. This is back when I had my 2 static racks. I just have the 1 tower now. But here we have 198.19. So this is what I'm talking about, okay? You can actually use 198.19 for internal /16. That's a huge CIDR, right? And you can use this. I actually did the research on this and looked a lot at this. So both the 198.18 and the 198.19, those are the two, was it class B? The 2 class B addresses that are available to use. You can go read about them on the internet if you want to make a big home lab that's got a lot of space. One of the cool things about that is that you can have 2 class Bs that are separate on different VLANs. Use 10.11. That's a bad idea. I would never do that. I don't use any 10 dots because I end up confusing them with my Kubernetes, but if you want to do that, fine. I prefer having the 198 addresses as being things that are external. So instead of using the 10 dots. But yeah, there's many ways to configure this, but this is why I like this, right? So I have 198.18s for here, 198.18, and then I still have the 198.19s for my home network. So what I ended up doing is I split my entire home network into 2. I split it into the 198. So all of the Kali home lab. No, I'm spinning up just a home lab, not necessarily for Kali. I just wrote Kubernetes right now. So in my world, anything that is on this includes my stepson's completely Trojaned gaming systems. They're all separate from my work network, completely from my home lab network. They're all off the router. All the devices that come on Wi-Fi. This is the biggest security risk of my entire house. Anything on the 198.19 network. And so I've got that VLAN off over here. And then I have, so my Spectrum router used to come into this primary switch and then OpenSense switch, and then it would get sort of separated out. Kubernetes default service CIDR is 10.97, fine. Yeah, I know it defaults to 10.96. I just don't like the 10 dot. That's just me. Yeah, you are probably fine, but yeah. So, but yeah, I don't like seeing those mixed for OpenSense. I used a pretty high grade. Oh God, what was the name of it? I put the name of it here somewhere. I think somewhere in there. I don't have it anymore though, and I actually really like that, and I might go back to doing that. But I am currently not doing this right now. I am Spectrum direct to this, and I have five Ethernet ports on the broadband router. I'm kind of giving up my security here. So if you hack my Wi-Fi, you've got access to my work lab, but I don't care. There's nothing in there that I care. There's literally nothing in my home lab that I would ever care about you hacking. So, I mean, worst you could do would be get a temporary token to GitHub and mess with my GitHub repos. That would be the worst any hacker could do if they broke into my system. Short of like sniffing packets off the router and keystrokes, stuff like that, installing key loggers on my wife's computer and mine, stuff like that, HRs. So I'm pretty safe. I mean, I kind of, when I did this, I wanted to really do an air gap network because potentially working for government accounts and stuff like that, and learning how to do air gapped architecture is a really important thing. And I was simulating air gapped, and it's a pain in the ass. And now I don't necessarily have to do any of that. So now I just have to get systems up and clusters up and running really fast. And so I like to do this better. You can definitely virtualize OpenSense. I know a lot of people who do that. I don't know. I have like different sorts of feelings about that. I know I think Het does that. Het Tanis, I think he does that. I think he does virtualize his OpenSense. And I don't know. I don't know what performance would be. You could almost make the argument it would perform better if you were running an SSD, revisiting the home lab stuff again. Very fun stuff. It is. So, I don't know. The reason I got into all of this, is I'm actually still really nervous about only having 255 total devices on my network right now. And the way I'm building my architecture, obviously Kubernetes, all those devices are removed. I pretty much just talked myself out of the automated cloud config kubevip stuff to automatically provide a load balancer IP for each service, because that's going to chew up a bunch of load that I don't want. I want the entry point for my cluster to be a single API, and that'll be the API server, and then the same IP would be set for Istio, so I'm only burning one IP address. And that this is important because this is actually directly related to how many things I can have. I can be testing on my systems at the same time. So, it does make me sort of think that maybe I need to set up OpenSense and put a switch out there. Let me give you an example. So right now I have plans to be able to set up PBS. If you don't know what PBS is, this is one of the most important pieces of software ever created, and nobody knows about it. PBS processing batch is invented by NASA a long time ago. It's called portable batch processing. It's actually just come out with a new version. They've actually updated their API, and there's an open PBS available. It's been around forever, and I'm telling you, we use this. We actually, the people who created PBS, a lot of them, that's not completely accurate. It's more generalized though. Let's put it this way: people who built PBS, we know them. So this is a thing. Learning about it for really high volume, particularly. I personally think that PBS is going to come on the radar again with all this machine learning submission stuff. OpenSense is a VM and Proxmox on HP. Are you? You're doing OpenSense is fine. I'm wondering if doing that is going to fix some of my network problems. I think I was having some network collision problems earlier, and I don't know though. So anyway, I mean, OpenSense might fix that by putting all that on the same network, right? That's not something that I can't add later. But why am I even talking about PBS? Because I don't know how many IPs get chewed up by setting up a PBS system. And to what hardware? I haven't done any mods to any of hardware. I haven't made any mods to my hardware. I don't want to make mods to my hardware. I've done that in the past. I don't need to do that now. My focus of my home lab is getting stuff up that I want to test and write APIs for, and that's more of a thing. The scary part here is LBG. The scary part here is how many IPs can I give up, right? And I don't think I need to stop thinking about that, because it's too late. I've already committed to the 192 addresses now. So I'm going to go ahead and proceed with that. And at worst, let's say, okay, so what I really need to do is I need to take a moment and go look at how many devices are on my network right now. I mean, you can just roughly count how many phones are in your house, how many Wi-Fi devices do you have. If you have a smart house, you probably have a ton of extra devices on, and you can go see them all in your if you go pull up your home router. We got the 3 phones in the house. We've got 3 computers in the house plus another 2 laptops. So I think we're going to be good. I think a total number of devices in the house is not going to ever be over 30, which means that I still have well over 200 devices to use, and that's plenty if I'm using endpoint gateways and thing. So I don't think I need to worry about it, and I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to proceed. But I had to think through that to make sure, because I overanalyzed this and I overdid my network architecture, and I want to fight that. I want to fight the tendency to over-architect my network, because any piece of architecture that you put in your home lab, you got to maintain that. And in my case, my entire thing got shot to kaplooey when my OpenSense hardware router got fried by a lightning storm, and it was plugged in. We were like, how the hell did that happen? The best we can conclude is because I had a really long running Cat6 cable that went into it. Its plug outlet was in a UPS that was GPS. It was protected from surges and everything. And the best we can tell, because we had a lightning strike, actually some people saw it. There's a clip of it happening. The Cat6 cable was routed up and over the house. It was like external, and it was routed like not outside, but it was like inside, but it was exposed enough, and it actually went right by the window and the concrete and everything before it came into my computer. And the best we can figure is that the lightning strike hit. I mean, it buzzed our hair, and like, it was a very loud, close lightning strike, and it fried. Well, the best we can figure is it fried one port on the OpenSense router. I could still use the other ports, but that port, you couldn't use it anymore. So I think what it was is it was enough electricity to fry the single port on the OpenSense, and I couldn't use OpenSense. So then I was like fixing my VLANs. The way I fixed it is I just pulled one of my VLAN and put it in the other network, and I was good to go because it was getting routed externally at that point. But yeah. So the reason I tell you that story is you might not want a lot of hardware and a lot of stuff in your network because you got to maintain it all, and it takes longer time. And if maintaining it is not getting you toward your goals, then you probably need to think about that. If you want to be a hardware guy, then yeah, maybe you need that, or it's the first time. But I don't need all this anymore. That's why I donated it. So, but I do need this tower to work, and I need to have it be able to work. So let's go back to where we were. Yeah. So threat hunting. Yeah. OpenSense. Yeah. I guess it makes sense because it wouldn't be shielded for lightning. I know. I cannot figure out what possibly could have happened, but it definitely was the lightning strike that did it. Because it worked before the lightning strike and it stopped working after it. And I was like, what the hell? I had no idea what it was. It was, but there's some other lesson to be learned there. It's like, if you're going to run Cat6 cable any distance, make sure that you're not running it in places that could be exposed to lightning from the ground. Because, there are definitely Cat6 cable entries. The thing that I don't understand is that it didn't fry the entire thing. It didn't fry the spectrum stuff, right? Which you would think it would come in on the coax cable. It didn't. It didn't come in on the coax cable. It was the segment from here to here. That was the thing that got the lightning and burned it out over here, but it was fine over here. It was the strangest thing. To this day, I still can't figure out what happened. It was so weird. So anyway, I just, to this day, that mystery totally baffles me. I've never been able to figure it out. So anyway, so we got your VIP thing. So basically you have to pick an IP. I don't want to pick an IP that's on a different subnet. I could, but if I do that, then I have to set up routing in OpenSense router running in a VM or something, and I definitely could do that, but I don't think I do. I think I just want to make this IP the same as one of the many that's on my my home network. I'll probably pick, one up in the upper range. And so that you have to define it. I think I actually have static IPs reservations. DHCP reserved IPs are allocated for a certain segment. I don't remember which ones, but in this particular case, I'm going to go ahead and put this on. I'm going to put this on 100. So, and we're going to do all of this from here. Set synchronized panels off, and let's do that. So let's go ahead and whoops. I actually need to put notes here. Install VIP. Okay, so control planes only. Control planes, install a QVIP. And, okay, so I'm going to actually just take a note on this. I'm going to do 192.168.1.100.200 and call that a day. Now, this is something that I actually could put in a script. And do we want to do that? Then I can just run the script. We could do that. We could put it in, if you go on dot, and then go on install Ubuntu and do install QVIP. Nope. Okay, so copy install kubelet to install QVIP. Install QVIP. This is how you get the stable release I was talking about. Actually, let's do something different. Let's do containerd. Install containerd. Install QVIP. I have some more of the code that does that already in there. So there we go. The RSN architecture. We could say, I mean, I don't know. We're gonna reuse a lot of this stuff. So let's just get rid of this for now. I'm going to reuse a lot of this code, so that's why this is kind of here. So we need to set the IP. So I'm actually going to always set the IP to the same thing in any system I'm ever using. So some people may not want that. It's up to them. Set to your own consistent virtual IP. All right, so we're going to export VIP to 200. I'm actually going to call it cube. Actually, it needs to be called VIP because everything under that, the container, is going to get passed in. So I do a VIP like that. All right, so what else? We just said to the interface. This needs to be the primary interface. So main Linux distributions can be found with IPA. I kind of want to get the first interface from the system. So how do we detect that? Let's go figure out. So IPA, is there a way to actually show the interfaces with IPA? How can I list? Is it usually the second interface, right? So yeah, what we need to do is we need to figure out what the main interface is, what the gateway interface is. How can I determine the gateway interface from IPA command on Ubuntu? Let's see what ChatGPT has to say about that. Determine the gateway interface, IPA bash IP route. First check the default route. This command will show the default route. Okay. Default route DHCP server blah metric by default via, but this in case the default gateway device ETH indicates that the gateway interface is ETH0. Verify with IPA. Okay, so we can just get the default route. All right, that's actually nice. Let's try that. So let's do IP default route. Wait, what? Did I do it wrong? Oh, IP route. How do you list the default? Okay, grep default. It gives you the defaults, and then it's dev ens 18. I wonder if that command has something special we can do with it. IP route -h. I wonder if there is a way. IP route help. I don't know. What I'm looking for is some way to get that specific bit of data without having to parse it out. I don't know if it's possible. Nice JSON output. It does have JSON output. Nice. That's exactly what I was looking for. Let's do that. Thank you for that, Patrico. IP-O-JSON. Yeah. -JSON route. All right, so let's pipe that to JQ .dst. Okay, so we have default. So we're gonna need a loop. It looks like. I mean, it's possible that's something that we can do in the IP command itself, but I'm still going to look that up and see. We need to look up the default. I mean, you think there would be route selector. So there's actually a selector root equals prefix match exact table via ref prototype scope. Dev? Why dev? What is dev? What is, well, default dev, yes, but what I'm trying to say is we need this selector. Let's get the selector first. D4 IP proto sport sort UID mark from if I address. There's got to be a way to filter the default one without actually just, root prefix match exact table. A scope or something. Let's see if this said anything else about this. Verify with IPA. How can I do that programmatically rather than looking at all the routes? Yeah, there you go. That might do it. IP route grep defaults. No. Nope. I like yours way better. I'm not grepping default out of there. No, God, no. IP-J route select DST equals default pipe to .dev. Yeah, there you go. This is good. Yeah, that's the same thing you guys came up with. Good job. You're as good as ChatGPT. There we go. So yeah, that was definitely worth ChatGPT right there. So yeah. Export interface equals yeah. I wonder, yeah, I guess we have to do it on everything. So this has been bash, so I have to declare it. Otherwise, shell check's gonna yell at me. Declare interface. Declare OS Arch EIP interface. That'll keep shell check off my back. I haven't done it yet, but and then we can do this. We can say export interface. Your grip is faster than JQ, but it's not reliable. It's not. Somebody puts default in the comment section in the output, and you're screwed. And you're saying they shouldn't do that. Don't do that then. It hurts when I do this. Don't do that. That's the right thing to do. I mean, it takes longer, but who cares? It's a shell script that's run once in the creation. All right, so okay. No. Mount. Don't buy it. You can do that if you want. If you want to do that, you can do that. This is the right way. It might be slower, but it's the right way. Because you can't be sure they're not going to change. Look, you do your thing. So I like this way better. It is a pain in the ass, and it's a lot of overhead. It has to loop through all the devices, but yeah, and it has to convert all the JSON data. And it has triple pipes. This is way slower. It's also the right way. The IF may be named pipe. I'm not, yeah. Unless you're, and as soon as you start trying to pin it down to its position in the output, I just feel like that's a hack. People do it all the time, but at the beginning of the line, yes, he knows that. I think he knows that. So, yeah. Anyway, so I mean, look, I wrote a whole TOML script yesterday when I could have just said to do the replacement, because the right thing to do is to do that. You know why? Because I've seen us get burned over and over again. Recently in a Helm chart, people who think they can just transform strings, YAML as strings, they get fucked all the time. And I just don't want to be that person. So it's just a bad practice in general to do it, in my opinion. I've seen somebody put a grep -VA for the word Helm while they were flattening a Helm chart, and they annihilated actual configuration parameters that were in the output of the YAML file of the YAML data, and buried key comments that had the word Helm in them that had nothing to do with the Helm flattening, but because they just finger blasted the whole thing by getting rid of Helm, it totally screwed it up. I don't like it. I like the precision, and if it's slower in this case, performance, anyway. Think about the corner cases. That's what I'm trying to take. I'm thinking about the corner cases. But if you're trying to think about all those corner cases, I mean, you don't have to think about any of the corner cases when you actually use the tool as designed, which is what structured data formats are for. And we need to have a whole boost thing on that. People are like, what the hell is JSON? They haven't even, what's crazy? It was just kind of off topic, but nobody teaches JSON, TOML, YAML, or any of that in any school course whatsoever. It's not taught. But in this case, there's none. That is no. The behavior and the output of the IP route output is undefined in the case other than -J. So do I think the people who creation of IP are going to do that? No. But the specification of that command does not promise that will always be the output. If they change it, they would bust a ton of people. I'm sure they won't do it. But it's not, it's unspecified. The -J is specified. So I'm good with that. Unless there's a -T, which assures that's always going to be the first thing, which would be great. I mean, if maybe they have another command that actually lets you output the table format and say, I only want this table, and then I guarantee it's always going to be there. In fact, I think it does have that. I think it does, right? I think it has a way for you to say I want table format and I want this to be the thing that's always there. Outputting and parsing a table and has been a thing of Unix since the 70s, 80s. So I'm not opposed to using tables for that thing. A lot of old school Unix people hate JSON still to this day, and I don't disagree a lot of times with that. JQ, thank God, is now officially installed with the base install for all Ubuntu at least. It wasn't for a long time. I think JQ is as important, if not more important, than SED in 2024. And by the way, that means that you should learn how to do the query stuff and the select. I don't know it. I've learned it once, but kind of suck on it. It's also JQ is extremely inefficient. It could have been so much more efficient, but they made some bad design decisions. Anyway, we're grabbing the interface this way. We're making sure it's always the default interface, and that way we can auto-generate that. All right, let's go back to the configuration. Set the interface, export interface, blah. Get the latest version of kubectl VIP released by the GitHub API. Okay, this is totally busted, and I have a better way to do that. This isn't even guaranteed to be the latest. I don't know why somebody has not told them that yet. The first item in the releases list is not guaranteed to be the latest release. It's not. It usually is, but it's not guaranteed to be. Okay, so let's see. As for creating the manifest. All right, so let's go ahead and get the latest here. We'll get the latest URL. API GitHub repos containerd containerd. In this case, we're going to put QVIP. That is guaranteed to get you the latest, no matter what. And by the way, it's the tag name. So it's the tag name that they changed it. Let me show you. I'll show you how their thing is broken right now. We need some of the rest of this, but I don't necessarily want to right now. All right, so let me show you how. This isn't going to install anything. It's just going to grab stuff. So, oops. Oh, I'm on a Linux machine. I should probably actually write this on. Let's do this. Let's write it on one of these machines instead. Yeah, I'm still going to have to do. I'll write it and then I can just do the commit and pull thing. Let's do that. It's kind of a long-winded way to do it, but let's do it. This is a really long-winded way to do this. Commit. This ensures, though, that my stuff's getting saved. And then I just read it over here. Git pull. And install kubevip. Yeah, it didn't even do anything. But at least now I have something I can mess with, right? So, we didn't print it. Echo version. Let's do that. Echo version. Okay, so that gets us the version. If you have binary files. Really? So let's do this. Let's say QVIP. Anyway, so they're by the way, let me show you what they're looking up name, and I'm going to show you how it's broken. Oh, it worked. That is so interesting. That is extremely interesting. Now I'm starting to think it depends on the repo. I'm starting to think it depends on the repo. Let me show you why I think that. So in some of this other stuff, let me show you. We got burned by some of this because we didn't do tag name here. So I want to show you this. This is really weird. This means that the API is not locked down for latest. JQ. See, that says V1.5. We ran into something that did us wrongly, and I'm trying to remember what it was. Yeah. We had to change it to tag name because the other name was wrong, and it was I can't remember which one it was. I don't remember. I thought that was a bug, but it's not. It works. I'm glad because it's on their website. So yeah, they have it. They have it as name. That will get you the latest name. So I'm trying to remember. Yeah, that's cool. All right, so anyway, we got the latest. Then we're gonna do the download. So, yeah, we need to grab the container image. KV version. Apparently, you need to know the KV version. So KV version. All right, then what? And then manifest. I should already be there. Then the container runtime. We should be able to trust it's there. For container D, for container D, run the below command. Alias QVIP equals blah. Or Docker run the below command alias. That's an interesting approach, but I'm going to do it. You know what I don't like about it though is, well, I guess this is fine. Oops. It's just weird that they would make an alias, and I mean they're assuming you're doing all this step at a time. I don't want to do that. Hey, thank you.
McGurk's _ Tweaktown
So
method
then
is
what?
now following.
We have that's okay. Then we don't need to do anything with ARP. With the input sales command set, we can run the container generate stack pod, which will be directed to that file. Kubernetes manifest KVIP YAML. As such, this is assumed to run on the first control plane node. Yes. Yeah. The configuration will create manifest starts QVIP, providing control plane VIP and Kubernetes service management using the leader electron. This is actually providing Kubernetes service management. I don't know that I want that. I think if I don't want that, I need to take out -- service. This one has services. Okay, so this is an example ARP manifest. This is going to generate the manifest. BGP services. Actually don't think I want the services option. I'm kind of trying to decide if I want it, and I just, you know, I guess that's fine. Oh, why isn't it working? All right, so QVIP manifest. Probably should do that as root, I'm guessing. Manifest pod. That's totally invalid shell. I I'm just putting it on this one pod just for now because I don't care. Whoopsie. Yeah, I told you. Shell functions can be passed to external commands. Use separate controller. Yeah. So this is a very weird way to do this. This is probably better done as a function, which we can do right now actually. So because they're not anticipating this to be in a script, so we're just going to do kubevp, and I mean it's not like it's going to the alias is going to persist at all. So I don't even know why they did that, honestly. This needs to be in parens, so there's stop shell expansion. Yeah, there's like this isn't a script that they wrote, so so I want to make it as a script though. And notice VIP QVIP. So all right, so that's going to actually do the part that we need. We could probably do that with an exec if we wanted to, but then it won't come back. There wouldn't be any return possibilities. So you could do sudo kubeclip manifest pod interface. This is going to get it to pass shell check. Control plane, ARP, leader election, TSE. Okay. So I'm going to stick with ARP rather than BGP. I should probably ask what they're using at work, but we're going to try this. I'm getting way too far on this. I should probably have done that in my other one. Permission denied. Okay. Sudo qvip command not found. Oh, I know why. Yeah. This is interesting. Oh, the oh. Yeah, we don't want qvip like this. We want qvip manifest pod. Q version we don't need. We got that's fine. Manifest. Oh, look what it's doing. It's running it like this. It's running it using the alias. That's why they did the alias. That's so weird. That is really weird. Oh, wait. Did it get truncated? It did. Leader election TSEQ manifest qvip.yaml. Wait. Run network host. I mean, this. No. This is VIP. This is cube underscore VIP. I don't know what's up with this. This is. Does containerd pass aliases to this to the container? I mean env I get, but I'm guessing that's what they're doing here. This here is implying that it's creating a container. Oh, I see. Why is it doing kubip slash? That's inside of the container. My container image stuff is not good. This is really weird. I'm missing something about how containers work here. I've never ever seen an alias used like this. This is a serious anti-pattern. This is a horrible idea. And I can't figure out what it's doing. When it's calling kubevip, it's actually replacing kubevip. It's expanding it to be all of this, all of that. And the very last thing is /kubevip. So then it would be, after that, it would be space manifest space pod, and then all the rest of that. So I think I answered the question. We can actually just, instead of doing it here, we can do that. I think we can do that here, actually. I think we can do it here. So this stuff can just go up here. And I think that is the same. I think it's exactly the same thing. And yeah. So we'll call this something else, though. We can call this, actually, we don't even call that at all. We could just call this. All right, so yeah, that should be done as sudo, actually. Sudo, you have to, both of these have to be sudo. You can't do anything without sudo. I think that'll do it. I don't know, but we're gonna see. So this pulls this image. Did we pull the image? Did we forget to pull it as VIP? kubevip version, kubevip equals container pull. Oh wait, so VIP must be a command. I feel like they didn't name the container here. Oh no, that's what the run command named it. The run command. Okay, so that makes sense. T breaks it. Actually, we can take that command and put it into a string. Let's do that for now. Yeah. I mean, let's try. You keep alive. Yeah, let me go see. Yeah. All right, let's try. All right. Well, it ran it, but we got the order wrong somehow. I must be missing an argument or something. This is a server for providing virtual IP and load balancer Kubernetes control planes. It unpacked it. It did it. Manifest. I'm missing. I deleted that first line. Yeah, bad me. I deleted the first line. It's manifest pod. I deleted manifest pod. QVIT manifest pod. It's a variation on Groovebox theme. It's in my dot files. Yeah. You search for, I think it's under install Mac and install Ubuntu. If you want it. This is just using the terminal. Install QVIP. All right, that worked big time. Okay, so that totally worked. Now we just need to redirect that. So PodCube system. And then we need to, actually, I think the T is going to work. I think it was going to work. Now that we don't have a function there, I think it will. Let me try it. All right, etc Kubernetes manifest kubelet. Oops, it didn't. Wait. Did we not write it in the right place? Oh, we have to like, I see what's happening. It's passing the T command in, and we don't want that. It goes in my previous message. You could do it. Yeah, we need to enclose. I was just gonna say, we can either do command capture for the string, or not. Yeah. I was just gonna say, yeah. I was gonna put a bash. If we do that, that will work. We'll have some escaping to deal with, but I mean, there's a couple of ways to do this. We could just capture the whole thing and put it into a string and then write the string. That's another way to do it. That avoids having to deal with the escaping. Let's try that first. I don't want to deal with the escaping. So let's say YAML equals. Shell check's going to yell at me for this, but I don't care. And then we could just do T YAML. And that's another way. That should work. All right. So yeah, etc. No, Kubernetes did not do it. Did not do it. It didn't. Something's wrong with my T. Yeah, I can just do an echo on that. Actually, I really don't need that other shit. Or printf. I mean, there's a million things. Oh wait, maybe not. I don't know. One more time. Permission denied. No wonder. Okay, so my last version actually worked. It was just it got a permissions error and it didn't tell me. Yeah. I mean, this is fine. I don't know. What's T? T. No, because T is not a sudo command. It is. Never mind. It totally is, because it's a single binary. So yeah, that'll work. I think the redirection won't, though. I think the redirection won't work. I think that's one of those cases where it has to be in the same command. I don't think this is going to work. I don't think this is going to work. I do want to know, though, if it's going to work. Kubernetes manifest. Oh, it did. Shit. Surprised. There we go. All right, so that totally worked. And that installed. That is it. That installed our kubevip right there. There's our installer. It's going to pick the right thing. And stuff. We're using CTR. Containerd. I'm glad I picked Containerd. I don't see anything about Creo there. How would you, LBG, how would you even do this with Creo? So there's probably some way you could use CRICTL to do that, but I don't know it, and it's not documented. So glad I picked Containerd. So let's see. Inner lecture equals down. This is not shell checkable. I am ashamed. I am so ashamed. It's gonna fail. OS needs to be unused. Interface is undeclared. Assignment is void mistake masking. Yes, I know. I know. All right, fine. Interface is already declared up there. We don't even need to export them. I don't even know what the hell. I guess, no. Do we need to export them so the container picks it up? Let's find out. I don't think we do. I don't think we need it. Okay, version. Let's see if it works. I'm not exporting it. What the hell? Where are you seeing an export? There's no fucking export. Oh, that was from before. OS. Okay, fine. Wait, what? OS appears unused. Okie doke. Do we use Arch? I don't think we use Arch either. We don't. We don't use Arch. I don't know why I put that there. Oh, right. Nice. Okay, we passed now. Interface. I don't need interface. Is the interface passed? It is not. These do not need to be expended. No. I don't need that. They don't. These are, yeah. I hate it when people put all caps even though they're not exporting them. I'm kind of questioning the authors of this stuff on the Cube VIP project. They did not have to do what they did. But I'm happy they're making it, so it did not have to be that way. So this kind of thing now. We should probably do a detection for Kubernetes manifest directory being created, but if it's not created, then they're doing it out of turn. They shouldn't be doing it that way. I think. The generated manifest will always be the same for the same version. Yeah, it looks like it is. Yep. Nice. Okay, well. There's our IP. Proposal is not present. It's a static pod. There's the ENS18 for our BP interface. And it's creating a static pod. And that's it. We can actually start that sucker up. What do you mean you don't need to run it on the nodes? Yeah, you do. For the ARP stuff to work, it has to be running on the nodes of static pod. Pretty sure. So does anybody know of a good command to do paste bin on the command line? How can I create a paste bin from the command line? Eeks went away. It generated the manifest on the Docker host. And then template where you need it. So you just make the one on the main node and then you just use the same one all around. Right? I see what you're saying. Yep. I could just copy it, save it, and then copy it over. Or I could just run the script again. I know it's inefficient and unnecessary. I see what you're saying though now. Yeah, I see. Yeah, because it's the same static pod everywhere. Right? Except the interface and BIP, yeah. Well, yeah. But see, I don't need a template anymore. I can just run the script and it'll generate exactly the same thing. I don't need a template. If you want a template, you can. Because theoretically, I could have a different default IP interface, default interface, and I would want to run the script again. So in this case, I actually like the script better. Get an API key. You can need an API key from pastebin, which requires pastebin. What? You can't use pastebin without an API key? You kidding me? What? Let's see. That has to be because it was getting abused. I think that was because it was getting abused for hacking. They added API keys now. What about alternatives like eeks.io? You can't use eeks.io. It's down now. Yeah, they're trying to help me with Eeks. Eeks is so freaking amazing. I have scripts already that do it, and Eeks just isn't a thing anymore. Too bad Eeks.io shut down. wget paste. Ooh, I like that LBG. There's fpaste for Fedora's paste bin. Wait, what? I wasn't aware that Eeks shut down. Unfortunately, with it no longer available, you'll need to look for alternative. No shit. Term bin using NC or Netcat. A very simple and no registration option for uploading text using Netcat. That's kind of cool. I mean, yeah, I thought that's actually kind of interesting. If I know what the IP is, I can just do a copy over. Shit. You have to start up a register. That's actually kind of cool. I kind of want to learn that. That's not that hard. And there's no third party involved. It's like, let's start up a miniature server just to transfer the file. Whoa. I got to do that. That is so cool. I cannot not do that. So the question is, how do you get it to write to the other file? You write to a file. Okay, so wait. We got to do this. This is like way cool. Okay. Okay, first of all, you both have to have Netcat. Is Netcat over here? Yes. Okay, so which NC? You over here? Yeah. Okay, so shit, this is so cool. Wait, NC slash wait. NC is ash for server, right? NC dash I can't remember. I think it's dash. This is kind of cool. I want to learn this. Local source address. It's dash L, right? Is it dash L? Listen? Yeah, okay. NC dash L, but how can I make it redirect? Can you send it to T? I think you can. I think you can send it to T, right? I think you can do a dash L and then bind it output to temp foo or something. No. How? This is cool. We got to figure this out. This is like the hyper cool way to copy between. I could just SCP the thing over. I'd be done. I don't want to do that. I want to use netcat. Okay, so. Oh, right. Derp. 6666. Is that already taken? Apparently not. All right. So then I can do cat. No, netcat. NC 192. Wait. Ho. Kate's control one. I can do NC to. Oh wait. I don't have an IP for that other one. So it'd be 192. I have to do the IP. 192.168.1. I think it's 17. I don't know. Damn it. Oh, I'm on a Mac. Seven? Why was I wrong? NNC 107, and then we're gonna give it the install kubectl kubevip missing port. Oh, right. Does it have to have a colon? Wait, what just happened? Did it do it? I think it buffered it. It did it! It did it. It did it and it kept the connection open. Cat whenever, yeah. Well, it worked. That's got to be the coolest way to copy between two computers there is. Not to mention that works even if you don't have SSH access. You could do that on any system that's got your rootkit with cat on there, with ncat on it. Yeah. So let's say you invaded a system, you've hacked in, and you need to transfer files around, but you have SCP. Just use netcat. That is cool. Yeah, that's like very, very cool. Plus, no one's gonna be expecting it. They're gonna be looking for the port. They can set up a port, and so it's not getting tracked at all by anything. That is really damn cool. I have to make a video about that. I do, because it's just too damn cool. I have to show people how to do this. I kind of did it wrong, but okay. All right, so wait, I gotta set it up again so I look like I know what I'm doing. Just send play 6 rootkit updates over port 80. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Actually, don't. You send them over a different port. Nobody. The other ports are probably blocked. I'm guessing. Maybe not though. I mean, if you're this far into a system, it's like. What I don't know is why it kept holding it up or something. So I would say that got denied, right? So actually, let's pipe it to T. Hell, you could actually make it T-A and it'll just keep writing to the thing. Yeah. Yeah, it'll just keep on writing. So like if I remove temp foo. Tail temp foo. Oh shit. All right, so now let's go submit our stuff. Yeah, I wanted to like let go though. How do you make it so it just does all the thing and then shuts down? And then Control C. Capital L. All right, so there it is. It came in. And then we close the connection. And it closed the connection when we close the connection. Man, NC. Number of probes. Number of probes to send to the peer before declaring that the peer is not reachable and generating adaptive read-write event. Interesting. Super cool. Huh. Yeah. So 53 in UDP to masquerade as DNS traffic. Do they? You support 53 in UDP? That's cool. And then they look like DNS traffic and they're just copying files back and forth. Yeah. That's really cool. That is really cool. That is so stinking cool. I have to make a video about this. All right, so it's just too damn cool to not share. Tempu. Oh shit. Wait, did it not do it? And my T didn't work. My T did not work. Yeah. Wait, am I on the wrong system? Yeah, that didn't work. The pipe didn't work. I can do this instead, I guess. What I want to do is have it closed down. Actually, when I close that, it's going to close it over here. Or tempo. I mean, that's enough to show it. So let's make a quick video. All right, so actually, let's use port 53. Port 53 as sudo. We have to sudo for that though. We've already got root access, right? Is that gonna work? Let's actually test this. Oh boy. No, I can't do that. It's a lower order port, so issue for UDP. Yeah. All right. So -u and now we can control C it. Wait, that didn't stop. That's interesting. Oh, because it's UDP. What? Did it work? But it didn't shut up. It didn't stop. It didn't stop the connection. That's cool. That is way cool. Because it's UDP, I'm guessing. Apparently TCP was able to stop. All right, so we got to make a video about this. This is cool. It doesn't know about connections at all, right? So closes on end file. Seriously? All right, let's do that. -n. Can you combine all of these together? Lun? Can I do lun? No. Apparently not. Apparently not. Missing port with L. Oh, right. What did we do the L last? Null. NC null. Damn. Invalid TCP adaptive write timeout value. Wait, am I not on the server side? I thought I would. Oh, on the server side. Server side? Or client? I think you mean client. So, yeah. NCUL. All right, so NC dot It did not work. Maybe because it's UDP. I'm guessing. Maybe it's not sending. Maybe it's not sending an end of file. It closes on end of file means that. Well, I mean that would mean that it's not actually getting an end of file. It's just a bunch of text, right? I'm guessing. I don't know. Let's do it. No time value. I think my NC is different than yours because it's Mac. It's BSD. It's BSD. Yeah, I don't think there's a capital N. There's not. This is a different end cap. It has different arguments. There was another one that didn't match up either. So that was the reason that didn't work. Hi.
Sourcing out the labor.
How are you?
I'll just put them together.
That is wonderful. Thank you. All right. So anyway. So yeah, apparently that's a NetCat thing. I mean, this is cool because we can show the Mac thing. So let's quickly make a video. Alrighty then. We're gonna make a video. Stay tuned. We're gonna make a video. Okay, so. Hey, you want to see a really great way to copy a file between two systems, even if those systems don't have SSH installed? Yeah, we found this. I mean, it was suggested, to be completely fair, ChatGPT suggested it because I was looking for an alternative to Basebin, and they said, just use Netcat. So the answer is use Netcat. And it's actually really cool. We actually had some contributions from people in the community who suggested that this is a way to, I'll get to that later. You have to wait till the end of the video. So anyway, so NC dash U, we'll talk about that later. It stands for UDP dash, and then L, this can be separate if you want. And then the port number, 666, because we're going to be really mean and nefarious. This number is over, was it 1024? So I don't need root access, right? If I was anything under 1024, I don't know, say 53, spoiler alert, then you could do that. And then this says, hey, just copy all the outputs to temp-foo. So to show you that it works, let's actually zero out temp-foo. Hey, did you know you can zero a file out by just piping into it like that? Yeah, that's right, or redirecting to it. So now let's we'll do our command again. It's gonna start up a listener. It's listening, and then over here this is a Mac, by the way. This is my laptop, and then over here I'm on one of my Proxmox servers with my case controller. And I actually was like tinkering away on a script, and I have read-only get cloning happening. So, I wanted to be able to transfer between, and I could SCP it. I could, start up an SSH server, or I could run SCP from my laptop, and I could copy it over. But what if I didn't have SSH? It's just so much cooler to do Netcat. So I went ahead and checked it out. So I have this installer script to install kubevip, which if you don't know what that is, watch another video. This is setting up a virtual IP for my Kubernetes cluster, and it's a script I want to run on all of my nodes, all my control plane nodes. But I wrote it and compiled it here, composed it here, and I was like, I didn't want to tmux copy it because then you get the extra extraneous spaces and stuff in there. So how can I get it over there without having to have any problem? Well, you just run netcat and set it. We're setting it to UDP just for fun. You could just leave it without that if you want. And then we pass it the IP number of my laptop and the port, and then we give it the file, and then we can wait around for that. But when you control C it, it'll actually close the connection down on the other side. Because we're doing UDP, it doesn't close the connection down. And if you want to leave that off, it'll do the same thing. Let's try it without UDP really quick, just to show you. Same idea, a little bit less to type. And if you're just doing a simple thing like this, and then you can just control C, and when you feel like it's there, and it will shut down both sides because TCP/IP has this idea of a connection, and then you can actually cat this file or vi this file temp-foo, and you can see that my script has come over perfectly. And it's completely binary compatible. So that's kind of a cool little technique. But I'm going to end you with this. This was suggested by somebody in our community who is in the security group, in the security land space, and you could do this. You could do this like here and 53, and then run UDP -L, and now you are sending, as long as you put 53 on the other side and you sudo, you're now sending your traffic as DNS traffic. So your packets are completely disguised as DNS traffic, and the port 53 is likely not going to be blocked on any path along the way. You can just use an HTTP server in the source directory. You can also do that. Yeah, you can fire up an HTTP. There's a lot of fun ways to do this. This is basically just all completely in the open, and you don't have pastebin available, or you don't have eeks.io, which got shut down, which was that was my favorite. And you're not giving any of this data out to any external entity. So it's kind of a cool little way to copy stuff. You got to be careful though. If you're doing this in an enterprise environment and your admins find out that you're opening up, you're exposing ports on your login servers, that's like a firing offense. Be careful with that. Make sure you don't do stuff like that. But that's a fun little thing. Make sure you learn about Netcat. Netcat is good for all kinds of reasons. You can transfer binary files. And deep packet inspection will absolutely get you. Any Palo Alto router won't allow this. We used to use the trick of like tunneling through SSH ports, port or HTTPS 443. We would set up listener SSH servers on port 443, which is normally HTTPS web traffic, so that board students and their school classrooms could actually log into SkillStack and do their coding. And stuff like that when they were bored in their math class, and that got shut down. As soon as they've got a Palo Alto router, they started detecting the traffic packets were not. They say, oh, this is an SSH packet. So packet inspection is getting more common. It used to be expensive to have devices that would do that. School districts didn't have the money, but they do these days. But so if you try to do this and you try to just send random data over port 53, and there's a Palo Alto router someplace along the line, it'll shut it down. It might even flag you. So if you do that, you're at your own risk. Bye. So paste gentoo.zip. That's a thing. Oh God. Upload via web UI. Where did this come from? Debug log upload service. This looks a lot like eeks.io. You gotta be careful with these people too, though, because a lot of them are like taking all the data and doing stuff with it. Yeah, you could stenograph real looking packets. That would be kind of fun, actually. That would serve no purpose other than just informational. But wouldn't that be fun? My wife is doing stuff. I'm gonna upload a video here. Go do something else if you guys are bored. I'm going to upload this video. Maybe we'll actually get a cluster installed. It's used to share logs of Gentoo community. Interesting. So it's not the kind of thing you should just do no matter what, right? Upload files. How come it was so big? That's what she said. What time is it? Is that it? Did we get paste? Yeah, that looks fun too. I mean, that's better if you want to share with other people, right? Yeah, I saw your link above there. Yeah, that's great. That's a great idea. If you want to like share stuff with them, we should probably make a video about that too. We need the cool kid icon. Yeah. It's a hacking pro tips. Monetize on. Next. I can hear them making food in the other room. We're getting very close. We got QVIP working, and then we can do the QVADM stuff. I know I'm going about this really. It's taking me a long time, but So be it. And see off my cold to silicon. Why not? I approve of that. doc/Linux boost Linux. I don't. This is kind of like extra stuff. I'm just dumping it someplace so I don't lose it. I'm sort of organizing it, sort of. That's the only thing I'm doing here. It kind of needs to be a separate thing. So after all that copying, back to what we were doing. What we were doing before. Something completely different. Is that a terminology that I am unfamiliar with? It sounds like. Done. The dishes are done, man. Is it still rendering? Hey, you want to see a really great way to copy a file between? We gotta share it on all the places. Dude, I've been doing all kinds of videos today. Post. What the hell is he doing? He's being an anime person, girl. That's pretty damn cool and horrifying. I need to do that. I haven't got implants yet. Not yet. I'm getting them. Are you talking about these implants? Just gonna clip that. I'd be screwed. Baby on the way. X. Don't judge me. There's still people on X for some reason. I do not know why. Wait, what? It didn't post it. Oh well. What are all these notifications? Okie doke. Get out of there, Rob. Get out. Get out. Get out. God, I already had a like over there. Thank you. It's like all of them have the same color for some reason. The same shirt. It's like you know what day it was on by the shirt. Except for I only have so many shirts. I bought more shirts, so they were too small. They were way too small. Get status. Oh shit. Move temp boot to install QVIP. Get diff. Okay, so there's all the stuff I changed on the remote interface. Install QVIP. There we go. Get commit. Update. Install. I mean, I don't even want. I'm writing a comment. It's a completely useless comment. But I did. So now you can have it. Stray further from the light. Every day we stray further from the light. We really do. We do. But you know what? We have stuff that we can use later. And I feel like the knowledge is, valuable. So not everybody might agree with that, but I must be clipping a little bit too much there. If I would turn this down a little bit. Just a tad. Check, 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 check. All right. There we go. Check, check, check. Wait. Back to bubble mode. Bubble mode. Here we go. And now for my next trick. Schmox. Install kubevip. Commit. Schmox. kubevip. All right, so we don't need to run it on the other machines, but we can, and we will. We absolutely will. All right, so we're going to unzoom this guy. And frankly, we are going to do this. Set synchronize panes to on. And now we are going to cd into install Ubuntu. And now we're in the same directory on all these nodes. And we're going to do git pull. And we get, hey, look at that. Now we have the installer on all of them. And now we can run it at the same time. Kube install on all of them. Install kube VIP. Boom. And type the password, which, hey, guess what? It's the same on all. I should probably have done something with the no password required sort of thing. So now our kube VIP is configured on all 3 machines. That took a few seconds. So it's worth writing the script. And we're off to the next thing. So now that we have kube VIP running, quite frankly, I don't know if it's actually started. So let's see if we're missing something about how to start it. We added the manifest example pod, VG manifest pod, example BGB manifest. Does that mean it's actually running? How do we know it's running? Flags and variables installation. How do we check it? That's what I want to know. How do we check the kube VIP? Anybody know? It will start when the kubelet starts. So I have to restart the kubelet. The kubelet's already running. So thank you for that. So sudo systemctl kubelet is a service. It's a systemd service, I think, because we sell it from the package. Kubelet. Oh wait, system status kubelet enabled. But I think we need to rerun it. I wonder if it runs. I mean, kubelet is waiting around, waiting to talk to the kubeadm, right? So it will run after kubeadm init. Oh, okay. Let's go ahead and restart kubelet anyway, just for fun, in case that has something to do with it. I don't know that it does. I mean, I'll at least reload it at that point. All right, so okay, so I mean, I don't know if this is a thing. I mean, technically, it should be running right now, right? How can I check if a pod is running over there? It's a Cree CTL thing. I think there's a here. Is there a way to check if kube VIP is running with Cree CTL? Probably not. When you do status. Oh, it'll have the logs in there? Okay. Sudo Cree CTL PS. All the running containers on your node. So is it, well, that's actually kind of an interesting thing. I can do that with CRT as well. Sudo CRT container ls. What? Oh. There's no containers running. Is it CPS? On CTL pods. So it doesn't look like it's running. Like I keep saying, it's not running. What are you talking about? Oh, it's just enabled. All right. Kubelet won't start until it has kubeadm on there. Yeah. I probably shouldn't do that, to tell you the truth. That's probably a bad idea. But oh well. Enabled, activating. It's stuck in the activating process, waiting around for kubeadm init, right? Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's what it's doing. Code exited, failure. Yeah, it's failing in a look until kubeadm writes its config files. Yes, that's the whole wait around thing that I remember. I remember this from the first time I did this sort of thing. So it is waiting. So it's not going to do anything to do kubeadm init. All right, good to know. All right. Any notes here that we need to update? And it's all control planes only. Related. Yeah. Anyway, install kubevip. And again, it's a complete waste to do it 3 times. It's just convenient. That was it. I could have just copied the template. I mean, the config file is the same on all 3. All right. So now we finally are to the kubeadm init, and we might be done for the day. So let's go back to our notes. We needed all of that because of this, the control plane endpoint. That was the thing that sent us down that sort of relevant rabbit hole, because we wanted to have control plane endpoint in our init. So that is definitely going to be there. Using kubeadm init with a configuration file. I always am stuck on this. Our team does not use a configuration file. I feel like there are some things that can't be set unless you use a configuration file. If I remember from the last time I did this, now, oh boy, speaker around my phone. It's recommended to me. I gave a story to, oh no. It does? Oh boy, yes. Be careful. Yep. So kubeadm init, you must tear down the cluster. So this is actually a point of contention with people. Do you run the command line or do you run the configuration file? V Vendetta. Oh god. And then I'm saying Kaczynski. If you watch a Kaczynski video, make sure you watch the documentary about the dude. He was a totally whack job, completely violent. Don't be like him. But the reasons that he became crazy in his manifesto are not particularly crazy. It's pretty scary. That guy was also volunteered to have the CIA experimented on his brain. That's why Kaczynski went mad. That's why he went crazy. It's insane. The documentary about him is crazy. So let's see here. Use kubeadm init. It's like, that's not just conspiracy theory. They actually interview the people who did the interviewing, and they talk to about a whole let's see how far we can push people crazy thing. There was a whole movement, a psyops movement in the government. You can't set from the command line. I know. So LBG, your vote is config file, yeah. One of the things we could do with this might have to be for tomorrow. To tell you the truth, I actually would like to digest everything that's in the configuration file. I know that the configuration file is the future, even though it still says v3 beta or whatever. I could go the fast route right now and do -- command, whatever, control plane. But then I think I would be missing out on a lot of configuration parameters for your cluster from the beginning. And Another reason to do the configuration file is that the configuration file is saved with your, when you use the configuration, if I remember this from last time, when you use the configuration file, your configuration settings, that resource gets saved in your cluster. So you always know what your original configuration of your cluster was, and you can look it up. If you do it from the command line, you don't get that unless they've changed it. And that alone is reason enough to go the configuration route, in my opinion. In fact, unfortunately, that means that we're going to have to, break down and understand Kubernetes. And I mean, for an absolute beginner, they're like, I just want to run Kubernetes and have it work. They're like, no, you have to understand what Kubernetes resource objects are, and you need to start out with 2 configuration objects and then you're going to point the thing to it, and it's like your initiation. So, and another thing about it too is you can actually, you can git commit, or you can embed your configuration inside of a shell script like I'm going to do, and just pass it in your bash shell script. Now, again, I'm going to be doing cloud init, and I'm going to be doing, Ansible and all kinds of stuff for initiating exam points and like setting them up and everything. But right now, just having it all captured into a shell script, which is, in a strange way in my dot files for some reason, is the way to go here, for me. So I'm actually going to go ahead and wrap up the stream for right now. I'm going to take quite a bit of time off tonight to spend with my family and do a little bit of cleaning. And tomorrow, though, when I come back, I will be doing, I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to do that LBG. If you're going to come back, if you want to go through that, you can do that with me. But when we come back, I will be breaking down the kubeadm configuration files, and I'm going to really digest them and understand what they are, and I'm going to use those. I'm glad we talked about this, because I remember very distinctly the last time I did this, I discovered some things in our enterprise production cluster that were wrong. And because I looked for the configuration files and they were no longer available, I remember using the kubectl command to look up the configuration of the original cluster that we had set up. And we're now, of course, we're going to have new cluster configuration set up by the end of the month. By the end of next month. And I know for a fact that our current team in production is using, or the anticipated production is using these files for one reason only. They have a point of reference for how the cluster was configured in the first place. So yeah, I was very shocked that when I went to go examine our existing production cluster, there was no way to look up how the original cluster had been configured, because it had all been done from the command line. And there were scripts, and those scripts weren't even in Git. They weren't saved anywhere. It was a big mess. So I don't want my home lab cluster to be a mess. I want to be able to look up those configurations. I want to be able to modify them, and I want to be able to understand what they are. And so that's going to be the justification for going with the longer approach. It's yet another thing that's pushing me off from running, kubeadm init. But it will greatly simplify the kubeadm init command when we come up with it, because we'll just be running it against I'm actually going to have probably install control plane or something like that. Kube control probably going to be what it's going to be, because it's going to run kubeadm. It's going to run, do the init or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll end up. The script is not going to be that involved. I don't even know if I'll call it install or something, but we'll definitely have those files. We'll probably embed those files in the script for now, assuming they don't have specific customizations in them. And all of that stuff, as I said, it's all going to get refactored into something that's more elegant later, most likely Ansible playbooks. So this has been a great stream. I appreciate all your guys' help and all the fun we've had along the way. But yeah, it's time for me to go, and I'm actually going to go ahead and raid somebody now. So if you want to stay around for the raid, thank you. Otherwise we'll see you in the next one. So let's do that. See who's up right now. I tend to raid, music people, but since Alt F4 is on right now, we're going to raid them. Alt F4 is definitely the candidate for the raid right now. Where's my, I guess it's not here. I guess we'll go ahead and do it. Creator dashboard, stream manager. Alt F4 is totally awesome. Yeah. Raid. It's the Alt F4, right? I can't find it. I'm just going to click on it here. Please tell him that I'm not around. I am going to drop right away and go do other things. Altep board knows how to do this stuff way better than me. So, you know, keep that in mind. The Alt F4. Yep. Have fun with that. We'll see you guys later. Yeah. Good times. All right. Good times, everybody. Bye. All right. Love him. He's great. He's great. He's not doing DevOpsy things right now.